Let's see this. Let's do this. Come on, bro. There we go. Sup, ladies and gentlemen, Ackle here, and of course, welcome back to each and every one of you. And if you're watching this over on YouTube, please remember to hit the like button and also click the link in the description down below, because it's always better when it's live. Alright. This thing's not straight, but I'm not entirely Okay, hopefully I didn't break anything. Let's keep it like that for now. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday. It's, of course, the start of a new week. It's a quiet week so far. Not entirely sure how much has been going on, or if there's anything going on, to be fair. Sashi, how you doing? It's been beyond quiet, actually. I should probably check Wowhead. I haven't been on Wowhead for a while, so we could check out Wowhead, see if there's anything new. I know there's a new PTR, but I'm not sure. Like, from what I've heard, they're not really putting any story and stuff into the PTR, at least not at the minute. There doesn't seem to be a lot of story, so hopefully that remains. We do have to discuss a little bit of the transmog stuff that's happening. I think that's important. Let's see. Beef Bar, World First, Iron Wield, Pepe, Ulduar. How to get Revival Catalyst, Hotfix for Exploits, Embodiment of the Storm Eater Transformation, Overwatch 2, Wrath of the Lich King, Phase 2, Ulduar, Datamind, Native's response to Blizzard, that's 4 days ago. We've already been here, so it doesn't seem like there's any new story, which is actually interesting. Is this a new, like, approach from Blizzard? Azek, how you doing, fam? It must be, right? Like, Blizzard just have a new approach to story on their PTR. Although the PTR is probably, like, still new, so it might be that Blizzard just have not released story content yet on the PTR. I would be very happy, though, if Blizzard would stop releasing story content on the PTR entirely. That would be so cool. Because at the end of the day, sure, I get that you need to test things, but maybe let's not test the story, because it just spoils the story, right? I'd rather we just get the story and be done with it. I'm good. I'm good. Went to the gym, edited some videos, made a short or a TikTok, whatever fucking floats your boat. Point is, I made a very short video that I uploaded to TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So it's a reel, a short, and a TikTok, I guess. And yeah, now I'm here. I sort of wanted to start streaming earlier, and I thought, all right, we'll start streaming, and then I'll edit everything live. And then I thought, wow, the editing live thing is really boring, I think, for you guys as well as for me, because it just takes a hell of a lot longer when I edit live. You know, normally when I edit a video, I can get that shit done in, let's say, an hour, right? But when I do it live, it's usually 2-3 hours in order to get the video done. And that makes sense, because I'm chatting in between. So yeah, doing it offline, just a lot better. I'm playing an ad, don't worry guys. I'm doing that so that you guys don't get ads later, because we are going to do some reactions in a bit. CDJ, how you doing, fam? We're going to do some reactions. We're going to do some discussions, because I do have something that I want to discuss. I'm probably going to piss off half the chat. That's just the way these discussions usually go. But it's something that I wanted to discuss, something that popped up. Ower, how you doing, fam? I don't know. I can win TikTok. I've been on TikTok for a while, though, Ower. I don't take it seriously, though. I've been there for a while, but I'm rarely, if ever, do I do anything on it. So if we go, right, if I go to my TikTok, this is it, right? That's it. Just whenever I have, like, an idea for a short that I want to put out. Metal fan from Hell, how you doing, bro? The Hero of Azeroth, Warrior of Light, big war boss of the Djinn clan. Akalon Orkalon calls for aid in raising the viewer count. I will answer the call, bro. Appreciate having you here, Metal. How you doing, fam? see that when I did not. I see that. I mean, it's not like I push my TikTok at all. As you can see here, this video has been up for a while now, and it's still like 0 views. So I don't push my TikTok at all. I don't let people know about TikTok. I don't even know if I have a link to my TikTok. Do I? Like, can someone check? Let's see. If we go channel here and we go to my links, where the fuck is it? Is it this one? Yeah. See there? I don't even have a link to my TikTok because I genuinely don't give a shit. It's just because I do sometimes make shorts. Sometimes there's like a video that I want to make, but it's not a video. It's never going to be a video because it's very short, very sweet, and basically would take less than a minute to just explain what I want to explain. I'll just put that into a short, and then I just decide. Yeah, well, then I just sort of go, all right, fine, I'll just upload it to TikTok and Instagram as well, just to sort of save time. But yeah, that's sort of the only thing there. Cassiel, how you doing? What are those Black Locust whispers everyone is talking about? I can't find a damn thing about it, and I'm lazy to do the quest. What whispers are you talking about, Cassiel? I'm not entirely sure what whispers you're referring to here. I mean, I know there's whispers from the Black Empire. Although, are those the ones? Some Evoker quest with some Black Locust Stone? I have no idea. I mean, I've not seen anything on Wowhead about that. And as of course, it's old. And I've just completely missed it. But I've not seen anything. Let's see. Black Locust. Oneron Plains, the Black Locust. Like mist on the night sky, the speckle of this gem demands your attention. You should keep it. Do I not have this? What do I feel like I may have gotten this? I might not have, though. Be quite enticing, isn't it? The locust was too much for the sunlit flame. However, it fits just right in my hand. Funny that. Perhaps not. Not this day. Not again. Take it from me. It is not my burden to bear. Goodbye, dear friend. Is it only Evoker? Then I don't have it. But I feel like I have items in my bag that I'm not entirely sure where the fuck they came from. Just quickly see, right? Just want to check something here. How's the sound? Why is there no sound? This is very interesting. There should be sound, no? Let's see. What's World of Warcraft coming through? Oh, that's why there's no sound. Should come through now. This thing keeps changing. I'm gonna fucking lose my shit. Wait, where the hell is my sound? Why is there no WoW sound? Audio. It's just gone. The hell? Bro, this is wild. Why is my sound just gone? Wavelength system's fine. Abuar, how you doing? I mean, all of these are going through just fine, but... Good camera hub. I should probably let people know on Discord, right? That we are about to go live. Bulkerton, how you doing, fam? Why do I not have sound in my game? This is very unnerving. Right, let's try this again. Let's see. They've made some changes to this, which has... There we go. Pillistek, how you doing, fam? Pray to the machine god for sound? Yeah, the machine god answered my prayers, actually. Lockdog, how you doing? Windows volume mixer, bottom right. No, it's... Whenever the software updates, it changes things. Like, it just completely resets everything. And then you have to, like, restart in order to get it to work. It's really annoying. It's really super annoying. If you were to get a complete overhaul of a single element in WoW, what would it be? Raiding. If I were to overhaul one thing in World of Warcraft, it would be raiding. I would... This is going to piss a lot of people off, but I do think the number of people that will actually benefit from it will be far greater than the number of people that actually get pissed off by it. So... let's first talk about how I got to this. The success of Mythic Plus. The success of Mythic Plus pretty much proves that people prefer small form content far more than large scale content. I know quite a few people that would much rather Mythic Plus than raid. Even though they do necessarily, or they might raid, but mainly they raid in order to get gear so that they can Mythic Plus more. Which, you know, it's fine. But that suggests that there is a fundamental problem within World of Warcraft. And I believe that a lot of that problem is developed and sort of integral to the size that raids come in. So raids in World of Warcraft is mainly run at 20-man raids, right? Why? Because, well, Mythic is 20. So if you have a guild that have aspirations, even for the first few Mythic bosses, even if you're not going to clear all of Mythic, you still want to have at least 20 people in your raid. 20 is a lot. 20, especially these days, 20 can be quite daunting. Not only that, but when you have 20 people in your raid, the individual responsibility goes down quite heavily. Like, every single person doesn't need to be as responsible or as tuned into the content as, you know, you would be in smaller raid form factors. So I would go in and I would change raiding from 20-man to 10-man. Even for Mythic, I would make everything 10-man. And then, to ensure that people who do like larger content, I would come up with what we can now just term as evergreen dungeons. But these would be mega raids, effectively. The same way you have mega dungeons, I would come out with mega raids. And mega raids will effectively be 40-man, right? So these are 40-man raids. They're massive, they're large, but they're not constant. You might get one every expansion, maybe one every 2 expansions. These are not pieces of content that is regular. They have a massive story. You kind of create them in sort of like a capsule. So their story has nothing to do with the main storyline of the expansion. They're their own little stories that tell sort of side stories to the main World of Warcraft story. And it's evergreen. So you will basically, you know, if there's 2 or 3 of them, you can do those all the time. And they will just always be a challenge because they're updated every expansion to, you know, fit with the new item levels and everything else that goes with it. So people that do like large content or, you know, many people in the same area still have that. But I feel like 10-man raids will almost instantly lead to more people entering raids. For a number of reasons, as I've already said, you don't, if you're with 20 other people, the amount of personal work that you have to do in that raid goes down. Your personal responsibility goes down quite heavily. Because even if you fuck up and die, well, there's 19 other people that can pick up the slack. In a normal Mythic boss, I'm not talking about end bosses, I'm talking about the majority of Mythic bosses that the majority of people will do, which first 3, usually you can kill the boss with up to 4 people dead. Depending on who's dead, right? If it's all 3 of your healers, or like both of your tanks and a healer, that's not doable. But if it's 3 DPS, you can still kill the boss. The rest of the people just need to really play well. That's a problem, which will not be present on 10 man, because as soon as you go down to 10 people, usually everyone needs to be alive and everyone needs to do their job. But also just from a social perspective. When you have 20 people, I'll say this as someone that used to raid quite heavily. I've always preferred 10 man raids. Why? Because you're actually friends with the people in a 10 man raid. You're friendly, you're talking, you're joking, because there's only 10 people. When you have 20 people, there's almost this expectation that people need to be quiet, don't talk, because if 20 people speak at the same time, that's a clusterfuck. No one's going to be able to hear what anyone else is saying. 10 people is a hell of a lot easier for people to have conversations, have fun, make jokes, and still raid. So that would be, if it was up to me, I would change raiding from 20 man down to 10, and then do those mega raids for people that actually care, right? All right, let me see here. Yes, yeah, let me quickly see. All right, so apparently there's new whispers here. All of the Dragonkin are being compelled by this locus, with some of the ones you talk to talking about how they're trying to fight and resist it. You eventually discover that it's something Neltharion created called the Black Locus, a black stone that controls the wills of lesser Dragonkin. You gather the stone and give it to the archaeologist, then hear a whisper from the stone saying, "Seek me out below." Alright, so, I mean, I would say, Cassiel, that is pretty self-explanatory. Alright, so there's one more bit there. If you're playing a Drakthir, the archaeologist with you says that this is a psychological addiction and you can't outright get rid of it. But you can overwrite it with something else. He gives you a mana stone from Suramar, and your debuff saying that you were called by the locust changes to say you're now addicted to arcane instead. And that's the last shit. Okay, so basically, you're gonna be addicted to something. No matter what, you just get to choose what you're addicted to. Alright, so I would say Seek Me Out Below pretty much suggests that this was made by Neltharion with the help of N'Zoth, right? So some kind of stone that helps mind control beings and bring them to the favor of N'Zoth. Nothing new there, I would say. I mean, it stands to reason that Neltharion, arguably the greatest servant of N'Zoth, would create an artifact in order to enslave more beings to the side of N'Zoth. What I will say that is very interesting about this particular sort of stone is it seems to enslave all lesser Dragonkin. What does that mean? Would that enslave the Protodrakes? Because technically speaking, they would probably also qualify as lesser Dragonkin, especially if lesser to what? So if it's lesser to aspects, then Protodrakes would fall under that category. They are Dragonkin, they're lesser to aspects, and therefore they too would be controlled by this Black Locus, which of course very much puts them, turns them into the army of N'Zoth. I'm not surprised that it exists. I'm not even surprised. I don't think we need to discuss why it exists. It's more, what is Blizzard going to do with it that's interesting. Especially considering once you've come into contact with the Black Locus, you are now fully engrossed by it. So either you're addicted to the Black Locus or you're addicted to Arcane, but you have to be addicted to something. That is interesting, because it would suggest that this Black Locus has the ability to almost rearrange some genetic code. It can literally rewrite your brain and just turn you into something that requires power or a conduit from somewhere at all times. Maybe more bestial drakes that are more like animals instead of the ones that can speak and are like aspects. So in this instance, that would still be all Protodrakes except for the Primal Incarnates, Lockdock, which we don't really know much about. the Primal Incarnates seem to be very intelligent, almost on par with the dragon aspects, which is very wild, because that's not at all what the lore suggested. If you go and read Dawn of the Aspects, the lore never suggested that we would have that proto-drakes would be that intelligent. They have the ability to speak in full sentences. They have the ability to plan. They have the ability to formulate actually rather complex plans. If you look at Razageth, for example, in order to get her brothers out, in order to help them escape from their prison, she used misdirection. Misdirection is in terms of thinking, that's higher level. That's very high level thinking. Not many animals, if any animals, can actually do that. The idea that I'm going to make noise on one part that focuses your attention there and then do something on the other side. So just the fact that those proto-drakes exist in the first place is rather, I guess, troubling. But the sort of, at least what I would consider to be, let's say, interesting is how that intelligence came to manifest in the first place. Because yeah, that shall we say, that intelligent doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Abaddon, by the way, 7 months, part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate you, fam. Thank you.
Great fish gather in droves. Go, gather meat for us and bring back stories of your exploits.
That intelligence doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why do I say that? Because the intelligence doesn't seem... If it was natural, we would have seen all of the proto-drakes have a similar level of intelligence, or at least all of the intelligent proto-drakes would have had a similar level of intelligence. So it almost definitely cannot be natural. It's also way too fast to be natural. The proto-drakes went from one generation all being primal to another, literally the next generation. Some were very intelligent, others were less intelligent, and then some were about as intelligent as a brick. That's not natural. That's almost definitely not going to be a natural occurrence. I highly doubt it, at least. So it suggests that something interfered, something caused this intelligence. Now, my money, for the most part, would be on either Azeroth or the Old Gods. So, why Azeroth or the Old Gods? Well, if it was the Titans, then surely all of the proto-drakes that received intelligence would have received equal intelligence. Because the Titans and the Titan Keepers had the run of the mill. They could do pretty much whatever they wanted. The Old Gods would have been limited in the power that they have available to them, because they were already locked up. Azeroth would have been limited because, if our speculation is correct, Azeroth is locked up. So it can be either one of those, because the intelligence does not seem to be equally distributed among all proto-drakes, or even just the ones that are intelligent aren't equally intelligent. Sebi Webs, how you doing, fam? So, yeah, in that regard, I would say this is most likely the Old Gods or Azeroth herself is responsible for the intelligence of the proto-drakes. The fact that things like the Black Locust exist, the fact that I mean, oh my god, there's so many things that we can actually talk about here that just makes it wild. Okay, so even just looking at the proto-drakes, there's more things that don't make a lot of sense, that also leads to me thinking that some kind of genetic manipulation took place. Example, we know that there are some proto-drakes that have elemental powers. Deathwing, or Nalfarian, had elemental earth. His breath attack got replaced with some kind of sort of shockwave attack instead. So whenever he breathed, he did not actually breathe fire, but instead, I'm talking when he was still a Protodrake, not when he became an Aspect. When he was still a Protodrake, whenever he breathed, it would actually send out this sort of shockwave sound wave thing, and that would actually, like, it would cause a lot of damage as a result. So very powerful, but it wasn't fire. Malygos, ice, water, very much water attack. But then you had a being like Nosdormu. Before he became an Aspect, Nosdormu did not have a fire breath. Instead, he had sand breath. Which, little earth, but why would earth element blaze too? Right? And also, the whole time thing that Nosdormu had already started to display in small parts when he was a Protodrake. He didn't have access to time, but he was definitely clever enough to sort of think through things and see sort of what was going to happen. So where did that power come from? Why is the elements of Earth not sort of showing up in the same way in all of the dragons? Because Nalfarian is an Earth Protodrake. He has this sound wave effect or shock wave effect, and he has the ability to come down with such force that it can almost crush something. All of that comes from Earth Elemental. But then Nosdormu has this sand breath. Why aren't they the same if they're both of the Earth elements? And then you have Ysera, which is actually the wildest of all of them. Because Ysera's breath is never actually described. They never tell us in the book what her breath does or what it consists of, only that it was the only breath that physically hurt Galakrond. When she breathed into Galakrond's mouth, Galakrond physically felt pain as a result of that. Why? Why are they so different? Why does because Protodrakes have their origins from within the elemental planes. That's where they were born. One would expect then that the Protodrakes would have the magic of the elements from which they were born. But that does not seem to be the case. Instead, we have Protodrakes that seem to exhibit multiple mixtures of elemental magics. So when you start putting these magics together, it turns into other things instead. And that again speaks to manipulation. Because when you look at fire elementals, for example, fire elementals are fire elementals, they're fire elementals. They use fire magic, fire attacks, they're made of fire. Because they were born within the elemental plane of fire, therefore they are fire. You would expect that a dragon that was born in the elemental plane of fire would be exactly the same. Why aren't they? What's different? Now, with Galakrond, we know that there was interference. And we know that that interference was of the old gods. But what if the Protodrakes that we know of is actually... What if all of them have been manipulated and interfered with in some way, shape, or form? And then the question becomes, by whom? Right? Hayako, after watching your video about OG Origin, can I send you a theory about the Old God Origin that could link them to Cosmic Force of Life? It could also link this to Drakes and their purpose. Lockdog, you're always welcome to send me theories, bro.
What's up?
I'm always happy to listen to theories. So yeah, that would be sand as rock plus wind, erosion and all. Or maybe. I mean, I wouldn't say that I disagree with you at all. Just that it's never explained. Now, that is one of the big problems with with most of the lore about the Proto-Drakes, very little of their lore is actually explained. We know so little about the lore of the Old Gods. Not the Old Gods, the Proto-Drakes. And this could be for one of two reasons. Option number one is that Blizzard have just never really spent the time to do it. And in a universe that is as large and vast as the World of Warcraft universe, that's just gonna happen. There's literally nothing you can do. The other option, which I actually favor, the other explanation for this is on purpose. It is much easier to tell a story when you don't have to deal with already established lore that can't be changed lest you be accused of retconning shit. And that's why I think there's a lot of stories in World of Warcraft that simply isn't explained. Okay, have you noticed a drop in interest in WoW after New Year's Eve?
Farewell, friend of the Grummles.
I don't know. I haven't noticed. Not really, Sebi. I mean, there's a general drop in. I'm assuming you're asking if there's something more specific in terms of this, like if this drop stands out to me. And I would say not really. It's the same kind of drop that I've always seen after the launch of an expansion. So you get a new expansion, everyone's really hyped on it, and then people sort of slowly move on and they go do something else, and they'll be back when the next patch comes out. I've not noticed anything remarkable about it. It's not like, you know, the videos have just disappeared in terms of views, or the views are definitely lower, but not so much lower that it would like cause me to be concerned, I guess. Super new anymore, and yeah, I mean, DF in terms of WoW players, not new at all. WoW players tend to, or a lot of people in WoW tend to move on very quickly. Especially with this expansion, right? Because this expansion no longer forces you to play all the time. It's much easier for people to just sort of, you know, move on. Because you can. There's no reason for you to log in every single day. There's no reason for you to be here still unless you're doing Mythic Plus, maybe, right? Or raiding. But if you're just playing for the fun of it, most people are probably already only logging in once, maybe twice a week, if that. And I would not be surprised if the drop in subscribers have... If we've seen a drop of about 40, 50% maybe, which would be on par with how most expansions go. So before Shadowlands and Legion and BFA, expansions would usually launch very, very big, right? Major launch. And then they would, within the first month, subscriber numbers would drop by about, 30 to 50%, depending on how good the expansion was. And then they would peak again around patch content. And this was just natural. This is just how it went. Shadowlands and Legion made this far worse, obviously, because their people didn't just quit. People quit and then didn't come back. So it made it a hell of a lot worse. We're more out in the world due to lack of raids and Mythic Plus, and now people are more in dungeons, etc., and don't care to fly around for world quests as much. Cassiel, but that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about actual performance on videos and actual performance on content and things like that. Which has nothing to do with, what people do in the game, really. At least not from a content creator's perspective, right? Oh, for the love of fuck. Look at me chasing this thing like a dick. No, I would say, I mean, look, World of Warcraft is also not a new game, right? I don't think World of Warcraft is ever gonna have the success that it used to have. I don't think so. I think anyone that's hoping for that is kind of not paying attention, I think. I mean, it's an old game, you know. Young people are not going to play this game. They're not even going to waste their time with it. It just, you know, it doesn't keep up with what young people want in video games. And if you look at, you know, if you look at most other games out there, I think WoW still requires too much of a time investment to really get young people interested, you know, especially your TikTok generation. They're obviously not going to keep playing. But I mean, all in all, I think definitely there's more interest, at least my personal feeling on this. The interest seems to be a hell of a lot more than what it was round about the same time in Shadowlands and the same time in BFA. What do I think of Riot's new MMO? I think if there is ever going to be a company that can actually kill World of Warcraft, it is the Riot MMO. Because unlike almost every other game that has become an MMO, the Riot MMO is following the same sort of the same recipe for success than what Blizzard followed, right? Like exactly the same recipe for success. Blizzard released Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3. The successes of Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2, and Warcraft 3 ultimately informed the success of World of Warcraft. Like 100%. If it wasn't for World of Warcraft 1, 2, and 3, there would not have been a World of Warcraft. But because people were very much aware of Warcraft and loved Warcraft because it was a cultural phenomena, people, you know, wanted to tune in to World of Warcraft and check it out. So it actually, I think, convinced a lot of non-MMO players that MMOs are good and that you can give it a go. Now, if you want to talk about success, Warcraft may have been somewhat successful, but Warcraft is nowhere near as successful as League of Legends, right? Thank you for sharing the spoilers, Cassio. I really appreciate that. Good luck at the doctors. And I think that League of Legends could absolutely put the screws to World of Warcraft in a way that few other games ever could. I don't know if it will kill WoW. That's obviously a different discussion. But it could definitely... And then also you have Ghostcrawler, right? Which Ghostcrawler used to work at Blizzard. He was part of the team that actually made World of Warcraft successful in the first place. So if there's ever going to be someone that understands what a game needs in order to be successful, it's going to be Ghostcrawler. No, I don't know if I'd call it the WoW killer. I don't think it's going to be the WoW killer. But I do think it's going to be the game that probably puts the most pressure on World of Warcraft to adapt or die. Because you can already see that Ghostcrawler and the team, they're already thinking about some of the problems that WoW is only now starting to deal with, and the game hasn't even launched yet.
What a haul.
I don't know.
Certainly
Zibby, that's an
worthy of a
interesting
tale or
question.
two
That's
of
an
your
interesting
own.
thought, actually. Is the Final Fantasy pressure over? I think it's... I mean, to be honest, I think that's very much going to depend on Yoshi P and his team. Because if Yoshi P and his team can keep knocking it out of the park, I think it's going to keep providing pressure. I think the pressure is going to stay on. Especially with the new Blizzard and their, shall we say, their new sort of approach to not looking at games like Final Fantasy and looking down upon it, right? Because that's actually what they used to do. I spoke to a Blizzard developer that told me that there just simply isn't any games that matter. And that they are the only games that matter. And so they have to keep trying new things because there's no one else that they can look at in any form, you know, in any type of sort of let's learn from each other, because no one else is even near as big as they are. So yeah. Do you think they'll do another MMO? Why wouldn't they just stick with 14? Because they're doing a massive graphic overhaul on 14.
Glad I could help. Keep it real.
I feel like they don't have to, like, come up with anything new, right? That's true, but that can always be changed, especially with the new expansion coming out that's basically, you know, Realm Reborn story is over now. So with the new expansion, they can absolutely shorten the original story or even make it completely optional, right? But reduced, as Asmongold doesn't play FF14 as much anymore, and Dragonflight actually looks like a good expansion at the moment. One of the biggest pressure points with FF14 was the Shadowlands sucked, and because of it, big WoW streamers started playing more FF14. True. Never shorten the original story. Well, they don't have to shorten it, but they can make it optional. Albiwar, you fell into the same problem that a lot of people fall into when they play FF14. You probably played,
Join us, and we can see how your skills are coming along.
You probably played through ARR and realized, fuck this is gonna take fucking forever. And I get that. You understand how central story is to the FF experience? Saberwaves, but this is the thing. The story, the Realm Reborn story, is over. As far as my understanding goes, it ended with Endwalker. And they're starting a new story now in Endwalker, which gives Final Fantasy that freedom to say, well, we'll make the Realm Reborn story, or we'll make the original story completely optional to the overall story. Now, I guess it depends on what they see as the biggest driver. Well, we'll see, right, Sevi? Because the biggest driver is going to determine what's important and what isn't. So, will they gain more players by allowing people to not play the original storyline? Or will they lose more players by allowing people not to play the original storyline? Because that's ultimately what you have to think about, right? It's going to get yelled at. I am on the verge of playing Shadowbringers.
What do you seek?
I know there's a lot of people that really want me to play Shadowbringers. Should probably just change to this category since that's where we are now.
Waters
Yeah, I do have to do Shadowbringers. I'm not doing it. I'm just currently busy with other things. I think I fucked up. Yep, I definitely fucked up. Jesus. Should not have wasted my...
Excellent work. I can see that the
Fucking
two of you will
silver,
soon be
bro.
formidable competitors.
At the moment, people get upset because people get to Endwalker without doing previous X-Packs and are confused and say the story is bad. And it's like, no, you just skipped, so you don't understand. I don't think that's true. If they make it in a way that the new story is new, so you can start over, there's no reason for anyone to get mad that someone didn't do ARR to Endwalker. Well, if they just made ARR to Endwalker optional, and then, yeah, they allowed you to basically do whatever, I think that would work. I think it would work, and it would also solve the problem of a lot of people disliking ARR, because the truth is that ARR is very slow, and ARR is really different to the original, shall we say, like how MMOs are supposed to be. Because usually in MMOs, you're supposed to go out and kill stuff. You're supposed to, like, you know, there's supposed to be action. Whereas with ARR, it really is a story experience. I personally hope that World of Warcraft keeps learning from Final Fantasy, but also from Guild Wars, you know, from Star Wars, The Old Republic, from Elder Scrolls Online. Learn from them. Take what works from them. Keep copying them. Because that has always been what Blizzard has done really well. Is that, you know, sort of borrowing from other people and then making it better.
Those bananas won't hold off the proto-dragons forever.
True, but again, the FF community needs to decide how many people do they actually want enjoying their game and how many people do they not want enjoying their game, right? But having new players be able to start from wherever the new X-Pack starts would be a massive benefit for the game. In terms of player numbers, yes, absolutely. To be honest, reason I never stuck with FF14 is that it always felt kind of clunky to control, if that makes sense. You get used to that really fast, though. Like, I get exactly what you mean, but I promise you get used to that incredibly quickly. Because it is different. It definitely doesn't play as smoothly as World of Warcraft. This is very true. But then again, how many games do you know of that actually do play as smoothly as World of Warcraft? The answer is probably going to be close to none. Because, yeah, that is the one thing that Blizzard does, I think, better than...
Little friend, aren't you just the happiest little marmony there ever was?
Most companies, most games at least, even single-player games, struggle to... They have gameplay on the level of World of Warcraft, but you do get used to it, and then you actually fall in love with it, just to be honest. So I remember when, you know, after I got, so my journey into Final Fantasy has been, I was bullied into it, basically by chat. I didn't want to play Final Fantasy because in my mind, Final Fantasy is a fucking weeb game. And it's only played by weebs as well, you know, it's played by people that like hentai and furry porn, and they're weirdos and shit, right? So I genuinely had no time for Final Fantasy. I've never played a Final Fantasy game. I've only ever seen footage of it, and every single time I've seen footage of Final Fantasy, it's put me off it. I'm like, fuck this, man. I'm definitely not a fan of Asian-style MMOs in the first place. I don't like the Asian graphic style. I don't like the Asian effects style. So there's a lot of things in terms of like Asian games that just puts me off in like to begin with. So I got bullied into it, and I hated it. I absolutely despised Final Fantasy. My first 30 levels was absolute dog shit. And then I sort of skipped everything until level 50, and then didn't understand a fucking word of the story. Like, as soon as I got into Stormblood, I was very confused, because they say things that apparently I should know, but I have no idea what this is or what this means.
To the Dragon Isles, adventurers.
And so I effectively just said, fuck it, I have to start over. I have to give it a fair shake. And then I started over after someone told me, dude, if you've not read the quests, you don't even continue playing. Like, either read the quests and know what the story is about, or don't play the game. But the way you're doing it now is just going to ruin the game for you. You're never going to like it. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll start again, and I'll read the fucking storyline. But if I don't like it this time, then this game can go fucking suck a dick, right? And I fell in love with it. By level 15, I was completely hooked. I couldn't stop playing. And then, I will say, after ARR, I actually started to prefer Final Fantasy's gameplay to World of Warcraft's in Final Fantasy. Let me be clear. I still believe that World of Warcraft's gameplay is better than that of Final Fantasy, but World of Warcraft's gameplay would not work in Final Fantasy, nor do I want World of Warcraft's gameplay to be in Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy's gameplay is perfect for Final Fantasy. 100%. It's perfect. It works the way that it should work, and it feels good. When I'm playing my Black Mage plays exactly the way that I think a Black Mage should play, and that's all down to the server tick rate in Final Fantasy. It's down to the clunkiness of Final Fantasy. It works. Okay, my graphics is... Why the fuck are you breaking down, bro? What's going on? Why are you having a fucking breakdown? Oh, that's why. No, it's... For some reason, I don't know what World of Warcraft has done, because no other expansion has ever done this to me, but I can't do screen share in Dragonflight. Like, as soon as I go screen share, which is basically just share whatever the hell is on my main screen, the game goes, no, what the hell are you doing? This is very, very tough, for some reason. But then, all I did here is I went to the game capture screen, I closed down the screen share, and I just went game capture, and OBS was like, oh, this is perfect. Yes, we'll go right back to 60 FPS, no problems. Fuck knows why that is a thing, but that is a thing, so...